I made some major decisions in my life. I did quite a number of things that completely transformed the trajectory of my life. And so I've been learning a few things as I've been going inward, and I have decided to start sharing those things with you rather than keeping them to myself. So, for those of you who don't know, a few years ago, I reclaimed my birth name. So, I closed down Helen Mitis, which was actually my brand that I had built for a very long time and my identity. I closed that down, reclaimed my birth name, Eleni. I closed down the number one income producing business in my life that was actually at its peak at a time when all the processes were exactly where they needed to be, where I had taken years and years to bring the business to where it needed to be. I closed that down. I moved location and I decided that I was not going to do a single thing that didn't align with my soul. I wasn't going to do a single thing that didn't bring me joy. I wasn't going to do a single thing where I thought I had to do it for some other reason. And that other reason may have been to earn money or to establish myself in some way. I decided that I was going to trust what I know to be the support from something that is greater than me. And I never knew how difficult it was going to be. I never knew how challenging it was going to be. Trust, like I have never trusted before, was the most challenging thing I've ever done. And it still continues to be the most challenging thing that I do. I'm holding these soul alignment sessions at the moment with beautiful individuals, and that is the number one issue for them as well. It's about trusting in something that's greater than them. I put a post up recently about letting go and trusting that everything will be okay. And someone said, well, that's okay if you've got finances or if you've got support. No, that's the whole point. The whole point is that you don't have a backup plan. The whole point is that there is no in between stage. The whole point is that you're either in with trust or you're out with trust. Trust means that you surrender to the fact that you have no idea as to how it's going to turn out, but you just trust that it will be in your greatest good and it will be in the highest good of the people around you. Trust means that you just know everything will turn out exactly the way it's supposed to be when you have no evidence to support that belief. Imagine how difficult that is. So, no evidence. It's day after day. You just know and you just trust that there is something greater than you that has actually taken care of everything. And that all you need to do is stop getting in the way. How do we get in the way? By thinking that we know better, by thinking that we have to do the things that we don't want to do. It's when you're in flow and when you're aligned with your soul as opposed to your ego, it's what that means is that you can feel into it. You can feel into whether something is aligned or not. You can feel into whether this direction is the direction that you need to take simply because it feels good, simply because every part of your body is telling you that, yeah, this is the way, this is the path. Whereas what our ego does is it gets in the way and it says, no, but what about if income dries up? What about if people are going to think you're nuts? What about if, and it's a fear-based energy. And so as soon as we plug into that fear-based energy, we're actually aligning ourselves with the ego and we're making agreements with the smaller us. So when I say ego, it's the smaller you. It's the you that's in fear. It's the personality identity that is so frightened of what may happen, is so anxious that things won't turn out the way you want them to turn out, is so attached to outcomes. Whereas your soul is not attached to anything because it already knows that there is a grander plan here that has already been organized, and all you need to do is go with the flow. And all these things that I'm saying may seem simple, but they're actually very, very challenging and very difficult to implement and to embody. It's taken me years to actually be okay with not knowing at all as to what's next. And now the way that it's transformed for me is that not only do I not know, I'm actually excited about the adventure that who knows what's next. How exciting. It's like recently, our landlord here in Adelaide decided that she was moving back because she was retiring. And so our beautiful home overlooking the ocean was something that was going to come to an end. But rather than worrying about where we're going next, it was like, whoa, I wonder where we're going to go next. This is going to be fun. Where is the universe going to put us next? Wherever it's going to take us, it's going to be for our greatest good. It may not be the picture that we envisage, it may not be the outcome that we think that we need, but it's going to take us to a place that is beyond our logical understanding, that is exactly the right place for us. And that's the way that we've embraced it. And that's the way that we look at life, which is, wow, how exciting. What's going to happen? I wonder what's going to happen. And so trust doesn't mean I trust that there is something greater than me, but I'm still really concerned, so I need to take control. Trust means that you relinquish control. Trust means that you surrender to not knowing the best way. Trust means that you surrender to the fact that your identity, your personality, the smaller you, is not privy and does not remember the original arrangement. That the bigger you, and that your soul and the higher you and your higher self knows that everything is working out exactly as it should. Now, I know many of you people said, well, how can this be? Like, this is the challenging situation that I'm in. It's a challenging situation because you're fighting it. It's a challenging situation because you think you know better. It's a challenging situation because you can't see the big picture and you don't know how this particular circumstance or situation is actually working for your highest good. And so trust is remembering, because it's all a remembrance, that there is no backup plan. It's almost like you're jumping off a cliff, but you know that by jumping off that cliff, you're going to go into an unknown um, part of the universe that you can't even imagine. But what we do is we stop ourselves from jumping over because we're so scared. So if you're in a job that doesn't resonate with you, if you're in a relationship that you're constantly struggling with, no matter what you've tried to do to fix things, if you're in some sort of challenge at the moment, just let go. Let go of the outcome that it has to be a certain way. Let go of the outcome that people have to behave a certain way. Let go of the outcome that things must look a certain way, and open yourself up to the possibility that everything is actually okay. Everything is okay. No matter what you see in the world, there is a greater story here at play. And so, if this is something that resonates with you, this trust that you really need to embody, I am offering for the first time in years one-on-one soul alignment sessions. So I have made sure that I was not offering anything. I've been very quiet for the last few years because unless what I'm offering is something that I know is for my highest good and for the highest good of everybody around me, and that it gives me the greatest joy to help people align themselves with the power of their soul, then I wasn't going to do it. Because for me, it's everything is about embodying soul. My whole life is how do I embody soul? And I'm not for a minute suggesting that I am soul embodied. Far from it. What I am saying, though, that it is my life's mission to embody the soul and to live as soul. And there's a lot that I have learned over the last few years by really observing every decision I make, every choice I make throughout the day, every single day, and not observing with judgment, but just observing from a distance, almost like it's a movie that is playing out in front of me and I am the main character. And by doing that, I've been able um, to align myself with what really matters and align myself with what gives me peace and what gives me joy and how to let go of the struggle. I was speaking to someone recently and she was saying, "Oh, well, isn't everybody having a hard time?" No, I'm not. But that's because I make a conscious decision every day to live a life of peace and happiness and joy. That's because no matter what is brought in front of me, there's a different way that I react to that situation now as opposed to how many years ago when my life was stressful. My life was full of anxiety, and my life was um, challenging. And that's because I was living a different way. I held different belief systems. I held different stories. And so it's all about letting go of those stories because underneath every single choice, there's a belief. And underneath every single belief, there's a story. And that story has been taught to you by somebody in your life, whether it's media or family or schooling. That story, you got it from somewhere. And so my invitation to you is, if this message resonates with you about trust, that it is all about trust. It is all about remembering who you are and the power of your soul. And that power of soul is something that's beyond your understanding. You are so much more powerful than you can ever imagine, way more powerful than the stories that you hold close to you, way more powerful than the story that I am this mother, this type of mother, or this type of colleague, or this type of friend. So if you would like to have more trust in your life and act on that and be aligned to the soul rather than the ego identity, I am now offering one-on-one, intuitive, personalized soul alignment sessions where we get together, just me and you, and very quickly I can identify what the blockage is in your life very, very quickly. I've been having these soul alignment sessions this last week, and immediately within the first 10 minutes, I can, usually 5 minutes, I can see where the soul blockage is, and I will recommend and suggest a way to move forward. Not only that, I'm working with your higher self, not with your small self. So when we get into the session, I do a meditation and I call forward your higher self, and we have a conversation about your path and your alignment to soul, and, you know, where it is that your soul needs to breathe and let go and move in a really fluid and flowing way. So if this is something that you'd like to do with me, just one session. I'll put the link down below. It's also yeah, I'll put the link down below. But would love to hear your thoughts about everything I've had to say about trust. That trust requires no backup. You're either in or you're out. It's not, trust doesn't mean that, yeah, I trust as long as I feel that I'm safe. Trust is where you do not feel safe. You actually feel like the floor and the world is going to be completely removed from underneath you, because it will be. But then where you go is somewhere that you can't even imagine. This is a really difficult concept to articulate until you go through it, but it really is about letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go until there's no more safety. There's no more safety net that you can see, but it's there, but you can't see it. And you feel like you're free falling and you're doing this trust fall into life. And then magic appears. So, if this video resonates with you, I'd love to hear your opinions and your thoughts. I will respond to every single comment. Sending you so much love.